Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a husband, a father of three, a 14-year NBA vet, a Charlotte icon, and a 5'3" ball of energy with one hell of an inspiring story. Mr. Muggsy Bogues, how you doing today, Muggsy?
Pretty good, guys. Appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
coming on One Star Recruits. And I promise this interview is going to be about you, but I have to start it out asking about your wife because she's a great chef down there in Charlotte. And if you go to her website, chefkimbogues.com, anytime close to lunch like I did, it's going to make you real hungry.
Nice.
Absolutely. I tell you,
Um,
that's my number one chef in the world.
well,
I
what's
got to
it
write
like
it.
being married to an amazing chef like that? Are you eating 5-star meals all the time? You look like you're in great shape.
I'm in great shape, and the thing about it, she makes so many great dishes that I'm such a simple eater. She cannot experiment too much on me, but my brother as well as my daughter and them, so they get opportunity to really funnel everything. But because I don't eat cheese, I'm not a cheese guy, and she come
Are
up
you
with so
just a
many
plain?
dishes.
Are you a plain hamburger guy with
No,
the burger and the? You could.
no, not the hamburger type. I'm not the red meat. Great.
Ah,
I'm more fish. So she creates. I mean, she make me unbelievable dishes with my fish. My salmons, my tilapia, my sea bass. I mean, she just great with all those type of foods that I just mentioned. But she's just a great chef. So as you say, I'm physically fit, and I make sure that I watch what I intake. I should
yeah.
say.
I love it. It looks like she gets creative with it. And we're going to talk about food a little later in the episode here because I'm curious what's going on down there in Charlotte. But
Mhm.
we try to talk some life stuff too, and not just sports on this podcast. And your journey's been an incredible one, man, because you and Kim's story is right up at the top of that list. I know you got married pretty young, early into your career, and it ended up not working out. But you guys, you're the parents of two great kids together. And 6 years ago, I think you took a second chance with each other. And when you got remarried. I know a lot happened in the time that you weren't together, but man, not a lot of people get those second chances like the ones you guys are living right now. And it's such a cool thing to see because really inspiring for us because both DK and I got married about the same time that you did 6 years ago. And what's it like to come full circle like that? It must really make you appreciate things.
It truly is, and I appreciate you mentioning that. I mean, man, Kim, we've been full circle, and we've been knowing each other for a long time. Need to mention long many years, but since I've been living in the Baltimore area and was able to make it out of there, was at Wake Forest, on my journey, and we was fortunate enough to fall in love with each other. And we had a child, and we got married early on, and you mentioned, living in that NBA lifestyle could be challenging, and we didn't last for 7 years, and separated, divorced, and separated for another 10 years. But Lord has plans in many ways what we don't even envision, and He brought us back together after those 10 years of separate. Well, I don't want to say separation of us living our separate
Mhm.
lives, and here we blessed again, and we were married in 2015, and of course we
Amazing.
have blessed two beautiful kids, and I have an older daughter, not by Kim, by the name of Taisha, and those three individuals really were my heart and joy in terms of my perspectiveness in terms of what I need to do to provide for my family. But Kim and I, we was grateful just to, see each other in a different light.
Yeah.
We both grew
Right.
from our past, and for us to find each other again after those years of being apart, it's all a testament to God, and I'm grateful to have him in my life.
For sure. It's the power of love too. We talk about that a lot of times, forgiveness and love and the concept, especially during these times of moving forward and growth. You nailed it, Muggsy. I got another married man. He's our guest host on the pod this week. He's a happily married man. He's also, I believe he quit eating red meat as well. I'm gonna have to check with him, but he's a head coach at Alameda High School varsity team. And we got a question. He has a really good point guard right now. He thinks he can play next level, D1, D2 almost. The only knock on him from recruiters, you're gonna get it, Muggsy. It's his height. And you know, I said, Cam, we got Muggsy on the show. Let's speak to these guys. What right now, if you could put advice right in their ear, would you tell these guys who height? And we're watching the wide receiver at Alabama. What a story, What advice would you have for this point guard?
For one, you don't even fall in that old belief that height doesn't be able to, not allowed for you to accomplish your goals. So it got you where you are thus far. Just continue to believe in you and keep doing what you're able to do. Know your strengths and weaknesses. As a point guard, you got to understand how to continue to make guys around you better, how to affect each other on both ends of the court, and gain the respect of your teammates as well as your coaching staff. Your play would dictate how good you are. Your skill set would showcase every time you're out there on the floor. So it's just words in terms of when people say you're too short, because the inquisitive minds always want to know. As long as you know that you had someone before you who was able to show you that that is not true.
Yeah.
And I don't know how tall you are, but I am 5'3", so that gives you a sense of what I was hearing quite some time throughout my journey. So don't listen to them, man. Believe in yourself. Understand your skill set and carry
That's
forward.
a story. Was there anything mentally you remember back in your high school days? Some mental tricks that maybe you practiced to get over some of those things when they did enter your mind?
For me, it wasn't no tricks. It was just I believed in me.
Nice.
Just a confidence within myself, and those things came in one end, enter out the other. Just like I let some of the compliments come in, but I let them stay just a little longer.
Even keel, man. I love it, Muggsy. Let's stay in Oakland. I know 97, 98, you and our guy Tony Delk were traded over there. This was before Clay and Steph turned Oracle into Oracle. I think it was Oakland Coliseum when you all got there. I mean, first of all, what did you and Tony think when you got off the plane?
Well, I enjoyed Oakland. I knew what I was going into, but not the full details what I was about to go to, because that week I was there. That's when the Spreewell and PJ Calissimo.
Oh, really? It was that week?
Yeah,
Muggsy.
So that's what happened, and but again, man, I enjoyed my time in the Bay Area. It was such a fun time, even though we weren't a good team.
Yeah.
But,
Did you live in the city? Did you live in Oakland?
I live in Alameda, right across the
right
across from
the
arena, so it wasn't too far, right there.
No, nice man. And I don't want to rehash old memories too much too, but that process, transitioning over, I think there was an injury in Charlotte. I believe the trade was for BJ. The details don't even matter. Yes. But sign it now. I know you watch hoop. We saw James get traded. James Harden this week. Not speaking to James per se, but what's he going through and what needs to happen for him? You turned that Oakland situation, like you said, automatically. You made it a positive right when you got there in a tough time. What should James be focusing on, and what needs to happen there for that to work?
Well, a totally different situation. James Harden, I guess he decided he wanted out of Houston. He wanted a different environment, and regardless of what that situation was, he decided he wanted to move on. And now he going to Brooklyn. It's going to be an interesting dynamic down there with those other two gentlemen that he got to join, with Durant and Kyrie Irving. Hopefully those guys can really probably compromise, which is going to have to be a lot of, and they can kind of mesh their egos together. James and Kevin played together once before in OKC, so they're familiar with one another. I mean, it's such an explosive talent that them three guys able to display night in, night out. On the defense end, it's going to be another story, going to question. But I mean, it's going to be hard to not.
Who plays defense anymore?
Yeah, that's true. They got DeAndre Jordan in the back, so they got the big fella to clean it up.
He is still blocking shots, man.
Yes.
I got a guy that I feel for all of this is Coach Silas down in Houston. He's a good man. He's a great coach.
Great.
I think he has opportunity to do a little bit of a clean slate now with some guys who are hungry. When you talk about John Wall and Cousins.
So happy for John Wall.
Yeah, what do you see down there working? I think I've seen a couple times where we saw him hit that turbo button, so I think it's back.
Yeah, well, he's. For what he went through, those two injuries was devastating. For him to come back to showcase and display what he's doing right now, I'm so happy for him and so thrilled and surprised. Wasn't expecting none of that. But again, he's surrounded with good people. Coach Silas is really a good human being, good coach, knows the X's and O's. He's one of the reasons why Stephen and Clay was able to, get to their level.
There it is.
So he had a lot of input in that. So I really feel good about that situation. They got some draft picks that they'll be able to deal with. Hopefully Boogie can get a lot more healthier, and as well as with Oladipo, and they can, kind of bring the Houston community back into the fold and to give them something to really cheer about, because it's such a great city. It's a great organization.
I love it. And that's for our listener, Chris Saxon out in Houston. I know he was bummed, but the future does look bright there. We had Muggsy. One of my favorite guests so far was Miles Bridges. He's out in your neck of the woods. He's exciting. LaMelo's exciting.
Yes.
Gordon seems to be hitting his flow nicely in a way that kind of T-Mac used to put up numbers a little bit. What are you guys feeling in Charlotte? Everybody's feeling a little good about this. I got NBA ticket specifically to watch Miles and LaMelo. So
that's the whole thing that comes behind bringing a guy like Melo. Excitement, entertainment, and then with Miles, his now transformation in terms of understanding the NBA style of basketball and accepting his role coming off the bench is really been a highlight for him as well as for the whole organization. And LaMelo, just such an entertaining type of player. 6'7", sees the floor, pass first type of point guard, can get to the basket. Shot is looking better as he continue to have confidence in it. And Haywood, that's exactly what they needed. A veteran player that fits in with these young guys who don't really dominate their growth process, because PJ Washington and Miles, as well as Devontae Graham, allow them to continue to still grow. And then with Terry Rozier, having some already familiarity with Gordon Hayward playing together in Boston. So the chemistry is starting to come together. Hayward, them guys understand their role. And they just playing free fun basketball, and Coach JB allowed them to do so. So it's going to be an up and down season, but I'm looking forward to them having a run to being one of them 8 teams standing in the playoffs.
It's the playoffs, man. It's the playoffs. Well, I'm a big Phoenix Suns guy. I know you're a Chris Paul fan. We're really excited what's going on in Phoenix. We have a little bit of concern with DA, and, can he be that guy that we need him to be, maybe to get through a Clippers or in the West? You happy for your boy Chris Paul in Phoenix?
Absolutely. And more so for Devin Booker, because you need a guy like Chris Paul. Chris is going to be able to teach those guys how to be pros on and off the court. And it's going to elevate their games. And it's going to be something that, it's going to be nice to watch that Western Conference, because it's going to be exciting. And I'm happy for Marty Williams too. Marty deserved it. It's a good culture, and that's what CP does. He creates the culture, and he brings a positive culture around those guys, and I'm happy for the organization.
Yeah, it's all about family, man. And I know you have a foundation that's doing amazing things. You're big on family. It's the Muggsy Bogues Family Foundation, where you help out students get scholarships. I know you have a Muggsy Bogues story I possibly heard about that's dropping pretty soon. Talk to us about what you got going on in your time, and just how we can keep up with you. You're an inspirational guy, Muggsy. We want people to be able to, during these times, it's tough, man. Find people 5 stars just like yourself to get inspired by. Where can we find you?
Well, I appreciate you plugging the foundation, the Muggsy Bogues Family Foundation, because we do try to strengthen families and make it easier for those parents. And that's why we award scholarships for those kids, as well as we had another component where we feed a lot of feed homeless, or I should say less fortunate families, to make sure that they're able to, continue to be able to stay at least mentally sane, during these crazy times. And because, those type of resources are very limited out there. I'm starting also, we got a podcast as well as you guys doing as
that's
well.
right.
Yeah, the
Who was on that? Who do you have? Oak on the first one?
Yeah, Oak is me. Oak is we're all part of the show. It's called the 3 OGs. Me, myself, Earl Curtin, and Charles Oakley, and our favorite host, Ashley Strollman. She's the host of our podcast. So it's everywhere. YouTube, Apple,
we go find it. What do you guys talk about? You guys talk about up-to-date hoops? Are you
up-to-date hoops? We talk about the hot topics. Current events.
I love it.
So yeah, we had guests like Vince Carter and Rex Chapman and Alonzo Mourning, Ron Harper, Spud Webb. So
I'm glad you guys are starting that. One of my favorite is 2 other guys, Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles, have the knuckleheads, and it's cool to hear that perspective from other guys that have been there, like you and Oakley and Earl, and just to hear that. So it's cool that you guys are starting that up. Good luck with
it. Yeah, just chatting it up, just having some fun time with it.
Yeah, podcasting's big, man. And I want to end this, because we end every episode with a quick hitter segment where I ask you a handful of questions based around a specific theme, and you just give me what comes to mind first. And For this one, it's simple because I want to talk about Charlotte. You've been ingrained in that community for over 30 years. It's become your home. I know you're a Baltimore kid, but there aren't many better cities for an athlete to play, in my opinion, than Charlotte, because the fans there, the people, they treat you guys unbelievably. And so I just want to have some Charlotte quick hitters and ask you some things about the city. Is that cool?
That's cool.
Cool.
All right, let's start with Carowinds is a big theme park down there. They have one of the world's best roller coasters called the Fury 325 because it's 325 feet high. I don't want any part of anything like that. But you were pretty fearless as a player. Can I catch you riding that thing?
Absolutely not. not in today's day. I mean, the older I get, seems like the more fearful I become, the higher I go up.
Yeah.
So none of that for me right now. Maybe when I was 10, 20 years younger, I'm all over it.
I love it, man. I have to get on the ladder to take down Christmas lights after this interview, and I'm struggling with that. So,
when you blocked Patrick Ewing, you were up there pretty high, man.
Yeah, I was younger too then,
right,
so I would not being up that high.
All right, you're at the top of the list of beloved Charlotte athletes down there, but I'm curious as to who you really enjoyed watching over the years in any sport, because Charlotte has put out some good ones. Who's your favorite Charlotte athlete to watch?
Well, my guy was Steve Smith. Smitty was my guy, and the way he competed, and the way he went out there night in and night out with the big guys, and his jumping ability, and thought that a kid his size couldn't, match with like a Jerry West, all that. He showed them, hey, I got that ability as well. So he was my guy, Steve Smith.
Nice. He's a great one. You got to get him on your podcast. That would be a hell of an interview.
Oh, yeah.
I already had him.
All right. There you go.
So you go check him out. I got Smitty on the podcast too.
There it is, listeners. We're gonna put it all. We're gonna put it all in the show notes. We'll put the foundation, and we'll get the podcast. Muggs, I didn't know you're out in the now. The space is getting too crowded. All the legends are in the podcast game, man.
All right, back to some food down there, because Bojangles Chicken and Biscuits is headquartered down in Charlotte. They don't have any locations out here in California, but I see you in their ads online, and that chicken looks good, man. What's the order from Bojangles next time I'm in Charlotte?
Oh, you got to get probably got to get the steak biscuits for sure, but then get a little chicken supreme. Get a little chicken supreme with them fries, boy. I tell you, they'll set you right off with iced tea.
That's the way I saw it. Yeah. I saw when Steph comes to town, always on his Instagram, he's always making a Bojangles stop. Having to pick it up.
I mean, we got so much history with Bojangles, back when we was playing, and it's been around for so long. I know everybody on the Chick-fil-A type of thing, but Bojangles Bojangles, it does it for me.
That's where it's at. Lots of restaurants across Charlotte and really across the country have been kind of struggling during this pandemic, but I want to know what your favorite Charlotte restaurant is when it comes to like a sit-down place, and what do I need to try when I'm down there?
Well, I go to Dresslers. Dresslers is a restaurant, and it's hard for me. It's hard for me because I don't like going out. My wife cooks, and I'm at home. Yeah, but I got to treat her at times too. I got to get her out so she can be able to enjoy it. And that's her favorite place is Dressler. She loves it. I mean, it's a cuisine play. I mean, it has all type of food that you can have, your steaks, your fish, your any type of
they got it all.
You want. They got it all. So that's one for me. And
we're gonna add that to our road trip list. Dresslers. All right. Last one is, you can't really talk about Charlotte without mentioning NASCAR. It's huge down there. You ever taken a spin in one of those crazy little cars?
Absolutely. I had a commercial with one of them in there with me and Vlade Divac. We were in there with me and Ricky Craven. So we did a commercial. They had to cut the top out to get Vlade in there. So but just to answer to your question, yes.
What was that like? You get up to like 200 miles an hour in there, or what?
Well, hitting them corners now, they could be very scary. And I was on the side, but Vlade, he wasn't in because he was not going to go around the track at all.
Right.
But it was a good experience.
Vlade's smoking cigs going around the track.
He loved his cigarettes back then.
Hey, Muggsy, thank you for doing this. We'll get everything. We got football playoffs coming up. I'm curious. I think I saw Chris Godwin rocking a Muggsy Bogues jersey at some point in my time here.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, your boy. Who do you got? Super Bowl?
Well, you know, Tampa, man, Tampa's looking, you know, everybody got Kansas City. I know everybody got Kansas City, and rightfully so. But, you know, I'm just an underdog type of guy. Love Tom Brady, what he's doing, man. And, you know, and my man go and wearing the shirt. I mean,
Rocking
hey,
it.
rocking it during the press conference. I had to give him a shout out too. To him, appreciate the love. So I'm gonna go with the Tampa Bay. I'm gonna rock them all the way through. You know,
Maybe
number
against,
14,
maybe against
number
your
14.
Ravens. Maybe
Yeah,
your Ravens back there too. Maybe they'll be on the other side in the Super Bowl.
that will be a dream come true. Boy, to see Lamar Jackson stand on the other side. You know, I got my Baltimore, and then I got my, you know, my Tampa Bay. Because, you know, what I love about my man Goodwin, not only he wore number 4, he wears 14. You know, that used to be my high school number.
Oh, really?
You know, that was my high school number and my college number before I retired it. You know, when I went to the NBA. So he's rocking them both.
I love it, man. All right, man.
Good,
Well, it was
man.
great having you.
You're all over the place. I see. I need to get. That's my next thing, Rip. I'm gonna get a Muggsy jersey. I think I saw the baby wearing it in the video too. It's all over the place. Muggsy, we're gonna get everything in the show notes. Thank you so much for being on our podcast. Where can our listeners follow you? Are you active on social media? You doing that thing?
Oh, absolutely. You go to the Real Muggsy. I'm all over on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
And the podcast. And the podcast is where it is at. If 3 OGs, right?
It's 3 OGs, yeah, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that, all the platforms.
All that, man. We're here. If that Muggsy Bogues story drops, you keep us posted. We'd love to pump that for you. We appreciate everything you do, inspiring everybody that you have. And thank you for being on the One Star Recruits.
I appreciate you guys.
Muggsy, before you take off, can you hit us with this is Muggsy Bogues and you're listening to the One Star Recruits?
This is Muggsy Bogues and you listen to One Star Recruits, baby.
Thank you, brother. I love you, man. You're inspiring and keep doing your thing. We'd love to see you smiling, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Y'all stay safe.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.